On this episode, we talk about planting updates and things to watch out for in the field this spring. Joe explains the importance of why we use Pearl Coat Plus on our seed treatment. We report on planting progress and market updates. Remember, as the weather gets nicer, stay safe while out in the sun.
Hi, this is Joe Mershman. Welcome to Cup of Joe, episode number 26. We have our regular panel here today, Tommy Johns, Turk Rigginator, Ben Peeper. And I know that everybody's been pretty busy this past week, maybe getting a little bit planted, maybe getting some spraying done, fertilizer done, ammonia, the whole bit. So we're real happy to see that things are getting done. But let's start with Ben Peeper, our company agronomist, and what he has to say.
Well, it has been a busy week. I'm really excited to say I would like to mention right off the bat here that my territory is all the seed is shipped and we are ready to make quick action. So if we get any additional orders on stuff, my territory is ready to roll. So that's pretty exciting for me. Yeah, I'm patting myself on the back, Tom.
And a lot of people, that's sales manager in general. I've been hearing we're getting new orders. Production people are saying the same thing. Oh man, yeah, we thought we was caught up, but now we got new orders.
Definitely taking advantage of the some of the other seed companies not having necessarily good germ on their beans or getting things shipped in a timely manner.
Well, I know the shipping department said, salespeople, we need some orders because next week we're running out of stuff to do. So if somebody needs seed, we should be able to get it to them pretty prompt, and that's good news. Yep. And that was the plan from day one because we knew that farmers are going to go fast, and so we're ready. We're ready.
May 1st was our goal.
Yeah, we know what we say internally, Turk. You have to have the seed shipped by May 1st, and then if we get it all shipped, everybody has their seed. We don't have anything to do. We can go fishing, right? It hasn't happened yet, but that's our goal.
Joe says we can go fishing. All
right. Well, maybe someday. But I also say another thing too. I said I've never seen a farmer plant before he got the seed. Yeah. Because that doesn't work.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult.
Yeah.
But if you don't have it there, they'll find it from somebody that does.
You bet they will.
That's why we invest in trucks and trailers and lots of equipment, and to make sure we get the seed there on time. And we know now that we're like a fire department. In other words, when somebody calls, it's a 4 or 5 alarm every time now. So we got to be ready. So we're trying to figure out where the need will be, and our folks will be ready to respond to it.
So, what was you going to say, Ben?
I'm going to pat myself on the back first. But I'd like to advise everybody, or at least talk a little bit about the bean pre's and how everything's getting put on so fast. Anhydrous, corn planting, spraying, and bean planting have all happened in like such a week and a half period here. I kind of wanted to talk about some of the things to look out for, some of the things that I expect to see in regards to herbicides. With everything being put on in such a short time frame, it raises the risk of the bean pre, especially if they have a PPO put down, burning the cotyledon or the hypocotyl as the bean plant's pulling itself out of the ground. We've ran into this pretty extensively 3 or 4 years ago, and I believe we're sitting in the same situation. So if you don't have your bean pre's on, there are other products like Group 15 long chain fatty acid herbicides. You can use different herbicides that don't have the same effect as some of those PPOs that for burning the beans when they come out of the ground. Because ideally a PPO needs to have a half-inch of rain to activate it, and when that half-inch of rain activates it as the beans coming out of the ground, that's the time. That's when you have a lot of problems.
Particularly when the bean is slowed down on emergence, like cold wet, which we're this weekend's cold wet. They're talking snow up and around the Chicago area, and
actually a call from like Mason City all across the line to Chicago. So it's a pretty wide area.
You're right, Ben. Those types of situations can cause some seedling injury, and obviously you don't want to see that.
Nope. So, but it's one of those deals that I think we're probably going to start seeing some of.
This is a good topic to talk about when people get a little confused with the who have a levo on their soybeans with the halo effect and PPO damage. You want to kind of explain that a little bit?
We have had it's a proven fact that when you have a levo on the beans, their emergence is slowed down by this much, just a little bit. So when you have your burn that happens from your PPO, and then you have your levo, a lot of the times people will think that it's an antagonist, or it makes it worse. It makes the burn plus the Alivo is a lot worse when they're in combination together, which Darren Mueller from Iowa State has said many times that it's like 2 + 2 is equal to 4. So you have your levo is 2, so it slows it down a little bit. Then you have your PPO damage as another 2, and that equals injury of 4.
And throw the weather in there, which causes that whole process to occur.
Right. But it's not like
cold.
2 + 2 is equal to 8 or anything like that. Each one has their individual component, and they don't make it extensively worse together. So it's just one of those things where we're just going to have to get through this cool, wet weather. I think the majority of the state's going to see some rain this weekend and into the beginning of next week. But just something to be looking out for and something to be aware of when the beans are coming out of the ground.
Actually, the recommendation is for PPOs is if you can get them on 2 weeks before you plant, you'll have virtually no issue with it. And this is a problem that only occurs periodically. In other words, it's not something that we see every year. It's we think one out of every 6 or 7 years.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's been about that long since we've had a real bad where we had 8-9 cases of it happening and here locally. And I think hopefully the rain comes and the beans stay in the ground and everything gets activated, so we don't have to worry about it.
Get some warm weather and we'll just blow right through that zone and have no problem.
Yep. So that's one of the things I wanted to talk about.
Good point.
Good. You said you had something, Joe, to talk about?
Well, we wanted to talk just a little bit. I had a seed grower in particular, come in yesterday and said, "Hey, I need more seed." And he says, "Your seed just doesn't plant like other companies' seed." And I said, "It seems like it always puts on. I get more seed planted." And I go, "Well, yes, that's what we designed it to do." And from the standpoint of our seed treatment, and what we're talking about is our Pearl Coat Plus. Pearl Coat Plus is a seed finisher that not only makes the seed look shiny, which we really don't care if it looks shiny because we're going to bury it in the ground anyhow, but it's designed to slicken the seed coat so it flows through and help replace talc and graphite. So first thing I said, are you using graphite? Yeah, we're putting graphite on. So I said, we already got a slick seed, and then we're putting additional graphite on. You might want to cut back on your graphite a little bit. But the whole idea behind our Pearl Coat Plus is, well, first of all, we're putting on a lot of 3 fungicides, an insecticide, 3 biostimulants. We're putting a colorant on, we're putting a polymer on, and then we put the Pearl Coat on. So we're putting a lot of different layers on. So we're really bulking up the amount of solids around that seed. So we put the seed finisher on it to slicken the seed so it goes through. And we're trying, and everything that we've seen, and we're trying to do is to get our seed, treated seed, to plant the same as untreated seed. Yep. So, Turk, you've done the planter stand studies, taken our seed. What did you find?
Well, yeah, when we first started looking at this new product that we're putting on in all of our different layers, I took the untreated seed and I took our seed and I went through Kinsey's and John Deere's and everybody else's planter stands that I could find, and our goal was to make it plant the same as untreated seed, and we accomplished that with the combination of layers that we have right now. Our seed plants the same as untreated seed. So if you're comparing how we're going to plant to another company's treated seed, we're always going to plant the same as untreated seed. Again, keep in mind that you have to use just a little bit of talc or graphite with untreated seed. You may or may not have to with ours, but don't be surprised if you do, especially in real damper conditions. You may need a little talc or something when it's real moist out, but high humidity. But otherwise, we're going to plant the same as untreated seed, which should plant perfectly normal in everybody's units, whatever that is. Our seed should plant the same.
Yeah, and other companies that treat, they may only be using a basic fungicide and an insecticide, so they're not putting a lot of solids on it. So it's going to flow through differently. But in essence, we should have really good flowability with our seed, and that was our goal. And we did a lot of work and a lot of studies, looked at a lot of information. It costs money to do this, and that's one of the reasons why our seed treatment costs more than some of the other brands, because they're skipping all these pieces. These are critical pieces.
Or parts of them.
Yeah, parts of them. These are critical parts that need to be considered when particularly with the load that we're putting on. We're just putting on such a heavy load. Now remember, it's not only the active, it's how much active you put on, because we're trying to give you 25 days of protection, 20 to 25 days of protection, and that's going to be critical right now as we're going through this cold spell right now. That if you got soybeans planted right prior to this, they're going to be sitting in that cold ground, having that extra higher rates of these critical fungicides is going to get you through it.
Yep.
So those are one of the things that came up this week, and I was sorry to hear that the farmer was somewhat unhappy because we were planting easier than what it should have been, but I was also pretty proud that our product was doing exactly what it was designed to do, and that is to flow through that planter, and as opposed to underplanting, it's actually overplanting a little bit. Now, it's going to vary from planter to planter.
I think the message there is definitely make sure your planter is calibrated accurately, and then believe what it's telling you, because it's not going to give you a false reading with our seed.
Yep.
Believe what it's saying and adjust your planter to plant our seed exactly the way you want it.
So that's our little tidbit of information as we get into the heart of soybean planting here after this rain event. Tommy, you have anything you want to add to the cause?
I was going to do a little bit of a planting progress from Missouri, Iowa, Illinois, and Indiana. Looks like Missouri's ahead on corn at 40%. Indiana's about 22, or Illinois is around 49. Indiana and Iowa are at 22 and 10% for corn. Now soybeans, Missouri is in the lead there at 19%, and Illinois is right behind at 18%. And Iowa says they're about 9%, and I think there's been some beans been going in. Turk, you were down south. Have you seen much progress?
Yeah, a lot of corn and beans going in the ground everywhere. I mean, I don't care where I've been. I've been all across the Midwest here in the last week. In planters were going in most areas. Actually, probably one of the wettest areas I've seen was in west central Illinois, and then it's been raining down south here too, fairly consistently. So they're kind of at a standstill down there. But you get north, you get to the Iowa line and north, maybe even Highway 70 and north. Things are really hopping and things are getting done. Look for a big increase in these planting progress reports come Monday.
Oh yeah, I would agree with that. I think even next week on the report they'll be double probably where we're at now. I did want to say congratulations to we had a sales manager that had a baby last Saturday. Kyle and Jenny Fedler had a child, and its name was Joseph Richard Fedler. So congratulations to them.
Yep.
And
that's a great name.
I figured you'd appreciate that. So actually, I think he was named after his grandfather that was good friends with your dad.
Yeah, that's right. They were some of my dad's original customers. Joe Fedler was. So yeah, that's great. That's great for
good news. So
great for them.
What do you got over there, Turk?
I was just going to mention again, kind of old news, but important news is the Chinese trade deal seems to be getting a little bit closer. Chinese vice premier is coming to the U.S. on May 8th to hopefully do its final round of talks and kind of get a framework for President Xi Jinping to come over and sign the agreement in the U.S., which yesterday, on Thursday, President Trump announced that he would be coming to the U.S. to sign the agreement. So when we see him show up, we can anticipate that it's pretty darn close. And so that'll be kind of a turning point in the market, in my opinion. Right now, the shorts in the commodity markets are at record shorts, never higher than they've ever been at any time before. And so all those shorts
on the soybean side.
On the soybean side, and all those shorts will have to be repurchased at some point, which will move the market higher. So again, the trade's usually about 2 weeks ahead of any action that seems to be going to happen. So look for this to be anticipated, but we could see a bottom in the soybean market here very shortly.
Wasn't there some type of buy signal on Thursday?
Yes, some of the commodity trading advisors actually put out a buy signal on Thursday to buy soybean meal. So if anybody is needing soybean meal, the commodity advisors are putting that signal out there that now would be a good time to purchase your soybean needs for the next 6 months.
Well, that's a little bit of glimmer of light for the soybean market.
Yep, some support.
And, I know farmers, they have a lot of stress on them right now, trying to get the crop planted, trying to catch up from last fall, what they didn't get, and then the market's on top of it. It's pretty overwhelming. And I think you've got some comments about health too, don't you?
Yeah, I was visiting with my sales manager in Southern Illinois, and he was telling me about a farmer that was well known in Southern Illinois, was diagnosed with melanoma cancer 4 months ago, and he passed away this week.
Wow.
And so don't overlook skin cancer. Make sure that you're getting checked out. It's very, very important that anybody that spends a lot of time out in the sun, like our customers, our farmers do every day, and any moles or any suspicious freckles or anything else, make sure you're getting them looked at, and don't overlook them, don't ignore them. It takes 4 months after if you don't do anything, and once it's diagnosed. Early detection is the key. Get in there and look at it, because very, very high success rates of treating melanoma cancer if treated early. I've had some taken off my ears, which is again something that's not protected by wearing your baseball cap out there in the field. So it helps with your face, but it doesn't do anything for your ears. So wear that sunscreen, and by all means talk to your doctor and be looked at for any suspicious anything for melanoma cancer. So very, very important to do that.
Grandpa was probably a little smarter than us, because back in the summertime, he'd wear the long sleeve shirt, mm-hmm. had the big straw hat, mm-hmm. And this generation, we're kind of the opposite. We don't wear the protective clothing to keep the sun away from our skin.
Yep.
So I just know one of the beauty secrets, if you're a lady watching this, is if you want to stay young looking, stay out of the sun. And there must be a reason for that. So yeah, that's good advice, Turk. I know, if you remember, I had my evaluation here a few weeks ago, and I had that little red spot right here. Mm-hmm. They found an early little thing that they said, we better get a little liquid nitrogen on that. And I can tell you, that checkup only takes like 15 minutes, and boom, boom, look things over, and you're out of there. And I think it's definitely something you want to do on an annual basis if you're a farmer.
15 minutes, that can save your life, right?
That's right.
Men over 50 or have a higher risk of melanoma cancer than under 50, and women under 50 have a higher risk. So it kind of flips at age 50. So keep that in mind as well.
Okay, well, good advice, Turk, and hopefully our viewers will take some of that and get that checkup.
Mm-hmm. So, Joe, what do you have this week? Anything on any update on the Bayer stockholder meeting?
Yes, I'll make a few comments about the Bayer situation. The big thing that's going on is this past Friday, the annual meeting was held in Bonn, Germany, and obviously stockholders are a little bit up in arms because they've lost Bayer stock values dropped $35 billion since they purchased Monsanto for 60-some billion. So the shareholders are kind of questioning that, and there's now 13,400 potential lawsuits against Bayer for the accusation that glyphosate Roundup is causing cancer, which there's a lot of science that says it doesn't. But this is all coming into play, and there's some of the major stockholders are looking at possibly not giving a vote of confidence to current management. So we're watching that to see how that's going to play out, because obviously they're one of the larger players in this industry, and will affect all of us in the industry, how that goes. Mm-hmm. So we'll probably give a little better update next week once we see how it all plays out, and see what kind of implications it may have on our industry.
Yeah,
it'll be something definitely to watch.
Well, if we don't have anything else, we'll sign off and let farmers get back out in the field.
Right.
as always, thank you for watching today. Thank you for purchasing your Mershman Seed products, and have a safe week.